So we can begin? Or you want to wait a couple of minutes?
Yes, Maharaj, I think there are 2 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right, 2 minutes to go. Yeah. Oh. Now it's the Bhishma Panchak. Tomorrow is the last day. We will finish on the last day of the Bhishma Panchak. And I will finish also my 5 days.
Maharaj, can I ask you a question regarding this Bhishma Panchak?
Yes.
Maharaj, tomorrow is also a lunar eclipse. I don't know if it is visible in India. If it is a lunar eclipse at the time of breaking fast, how do we break the fast, Maharaj?
What time is the lunar eclipse?
I don't know, if at all, assuming if it is at the fast breaking time, I mean during the moon rise, if it is a lunar eclipse, how do we break the fast?
Well, depends how you've been fasting. What have you been taking for the 4 days?
If we are on Panchagavya, how do we break the fast?
You've been doing Panchagavya?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. So you should have a feast.
But usually what they tell is during the eclipse you should have 4 hours before the eclipse time. That is what we have heard, because it doesn't digest properly during the eclipse time.
Yeah, you don't eat during the eclipse time.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to eat or drink even during the eclipse. We're supposed to chant the holy name. Well, they were inviting me just now. They told me, they said they're going to have a program at 5:30 in Mayapur. They're breaking fast. I told them, I said, well, I'm giving class. I said, I can't come.
Maharaj, otherwise we discuss with devotees, we can make our class tomorrow early, because all of us, maybe most of us need to break fast.
Really? Well, we have to ask the devotees. Who's in charge for the class? Maharaj?
No, Maharaj, it is Radhika Nagarpur.
Oh, Radhika Nagar.
Is the coordinator.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to start changing the time. I don't know. I think 6:30 is okay. You can break fast then. You know, you don't have to worry about any special time breaking fast. There's not like a prayana. It's not like Ekadasi prayana where you have a special time to break the fast.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I also just noticed that tomorrow's lunar eclipse is starting from 12:48 p.m. and end at 4:17 p.m.
Is that in India?
In India. So that doesn't interfere with our breaking fast. We can eat and drink.
Yes, Maharaj. That's okay.
But we're not supposed to eat and drink when there's an eclipse going on.
No, just finishing.
Huh?
Oh, finished. 4:17 finished.
After Surya Asta we take.
Okay, are you also doing Panchagavya, fasting?
Yes. No, it's not Panchagavya. Fruits.
What are you taking? Fruit and roots?
Fruits, only fruits.
I'm also taking only fruits. So what, we have to take fruits before what? Before 12 something?
Anyhow, in the morning we take breakfast.
Well, you just take
And then in the night.
I heard from Jayapataka Maharaj, he said tomorrow no need to take lunch. We take breakfast and then take the break fasting feast.
Oh, okay.
That's what usually happens.
Really? Okay, so tomorrow I won't take any lunch. I won't take my fruit at lunchtime. Just take in the morning. Maybe take a late breakfast. That's better. Take a brunch.
Maharaj?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow is also the last day of Chaturmasya Vrata, no, Maharaj?
Yes, right.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, we can start
Okay.
if you wish.
Om Jnanatimandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya
Recording in progress.
Chaksurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadisarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, we'd like to begin inviting someone to tell us something we spoke about yesterday.
Can I, Maharaj?
Yes, Prabhu?
Yeah. Maharaj, yesterday we discussed about chapter 5. The chapter name was Nanda Maharaj, meeting of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. Nanda Maharaj was very jubilant because baby Krishna was born, Lord Krishna was born. And not only Nanda Maharaj, the whole Vrindavan was in jubilation. Then Nanda Maharaj gave 2 million cows in charity to the Brahmanas. And also Nanda Maharaj performed Jata Karma ceremony. Then on this occasion also Nanda Maharaj gave a lot of charities to all the people who were present in the ceremony. And hearing the news of Nanda Maharaj, and Yashoda got a baby. So all the Vrajavasis, they dressed nicely and then they proceed to Nanda Maharaj to see the baby. Then Prabhupada in the purport mentions how the Vrajavasi women are naturally very, very beautiful without any artificial cosmetics. And also they all blessed Krishna, may you become king of Raja.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
After this, Maharaj, Nanda Maharaj proceed to Mathura to pay the tax to Kamsa. There he meets Vasudeva, and there was a discussion between Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj. And also we talked about how they are the brothers, like Vasudeva's father, Shurasena had 2 wives. One Kshatriya wife from Vasudeva was born, and from Vaishya wife, Nanda Maharaj was born. And they discuss each other. And also Maharaj clearly explained, when 2 people meet, they discuss about their profession. Now in this case, Vasudeva is inquiring from Nanda Maharaj about how is Krushi, Goraksha and Vanijya. And also he explained if 2 Kshatriya meets, they talks about the Praja and what is the collection of the taxes, then wars, so on so things. And similarly, when Brahmanas meet, they discuss about their devotional service.
Okay.
And then finally, Vasudeva advises Nanda Maharaj to leave Mathura immediately. Then he proceeds to Gokula. This for discussion.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice. Anybody else would like to add anything? Might be a bit difficult. But anyone? Yes, Prabhu?
Maharaj, we were also discussing who should offer obeisances to who.
Yes, right.
When Nanda and Vasudeva met. But actually none of them offered obeisances. Nanda Maharaj was so overwhelmed with prema that he just embraced Vasudeva.
Yes, right. Although Vasudeva is higher caste, but Nanda Maharaj is older, but they have an intimate relationship. They're friends and step-brothers. Okay, thank you very much. So we heard at the end of the chapter how Vasudeva told Nanda Maharaj that you should really get back to Gokul. Now Vasudeva would certainly be worried because those two boys, the two children there, are actually his children. Well, at least Vasudeva thinks they're his children. And he's very worried for their protection because he knows about Kamsa and how Kamsa was engaged in so many atrocities, and he had his lieutenants, his ministers. And there was Pralamba and Keshi, and we're going to hear today about this also. Formidable lieutenant of Kamsa, Putana. So Vasudeva tells Nanda Maharaj that you should get back to Vrindavan quickly. And Vasudeva said, I'm worried that something dangerous may happen there, and you should be there to take care of the situation. So Nanda Maharaj, hearing these words from Vasudeva, he's very affected because he sees Vasudeva not just as his brother or friend, but he sees him also as like a Raja Rishi. He sees him like a Raja Rishi, a saintly king. Well, he's a Kshatriya. Vasudeva is a Kshatriya, so the Kshatriyas are all like Rajas. So he was and he was a Rishi also. And so Raja Rishis, they don't lie, they'll speak the truth. And Nanda Maharaj understood that, this is something, this is a warning. And he saw this as like a warning coming from Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj became very determined, very serious, and immediately packed up everything, and he got the bullocks yoked up to the cart, and they set off to get back to Gokul at full speed. So this is how the chapter begins, with Nanda Maharaj being anxious to get back to Gokul, to see the situation. The first verse actually talks about when there's a dangerous situation, when there's any kind of danger or problems at all, a devotee will immediately take shelter of the Supreme Lord. We'll take shelter when we're in a dangerous condition. We'll all take shelter of the holy name. We will want to take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. We have no other shelter when there's danger. And we see the examples of all the great devotees, how they're, whenever, of course they always think of Krishna, but when there's a dangerous situation, then their Krishna consciousness will be even greater. Do you have any experiences of that? Have you seen that? And I heard that one time in Mumbai, there was an earthquake, and all the devotees came rushing out of the building, and they were all worried the building's going to fall down, the ground's going to open up, and they were chanting like anything. And they said it was the best rounds they ever did. So I was wondering, did any of you have any experiences like that, where you were in a dangerous situation and you just took shelter of the holy name, and you were able to overcome all the difficulties?
Maharaj, can I share one of the experience I had?
Oh, please do, Mataji, yes.
Maharaj, 2-3 years back, I was actually diagnosed with a very severe illness. And actually, when I was diagnosed, I just, on the way back, I was thinking, I shouldn't be doing the chanting or anything because I was totally upset. But when I returned back home, I offered my obeisances to my deities, and immediately, like some inner voice was telling me that I heard my Guru Maharaj telling me that everything will be all right if you chant the holy name of the Lord. But down the lane, after 2 years, now I'm totally recovered from that.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. So you never stopped chanting the holy name. You took and you increased your chanting, eh?
Yes, Maharaj.
Very nice. Anybody else who would like to give us some of their an experience they had when they were in danger or difficulty and they were able to take more shelter of Krishna? I have these opportunities. I often had it because, when we do things like Sankirtan, and sometimes, you get trouble from people, the authorities. Sometimes they don't like it, that you're doing book distribution and collecting and things like that. And sometimes I also go to countries where we're not very legal, and so there's often some dangers there. So, what to do when you're in difficulty? You have to just take shelter of the Lord and remember Him. And we saw, remember in the third canto, there was an example of Vidura being driven out from the palace of Hastinapur. So Vidura saw the two Mayas. He saw Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. He saw Duryodhana manifesting the Mahamaya, kicking him out of the palace and threatening to beat him. But he saw also the Yoga Maya. He saw the hand of Krishna, that Krishna was encouraging him, that this is very nice, you have an opportunity to go and visit the holy places and to associate with saintly people who are living in these holy places. So it's very good for you. So there are two sides to everything. There's the bad side and the good side, right? And we want to see Krishna's arrangement. We have to learn to focus the mind on Krishna. Maybe you're in the car, you get some problem, you're driving, it's very dangerous sometimes. It's always good when you're driving the car, you really have to pray and think of Krishna. Even before becoming a devotee as students, or when we were at school, when we have exams, pray to Krishna that somehow I can pass the exam. These kind of things. Of course, that's very material. But we want to remember Krishna for our spiritual advancement. So Nanda Maharaj, he's worried not about himself, but he's afraid that he'd left Gokul, and he'd left his wife there, and he'd left Rohini there, and he'd left also the two children there. So he's really worried about if there's any danger, who's going to be taking care of them. So Nanda Maharaj is eager to get back there. So then it's mentioned that when Nanda Maharaj was returning, the same time Putana, whom, this is text number 2, Putana, whom Kamsa had previously engaged to kill babies, was wandering about, doing her nefarious duty. And it's mentioned that Kamsa, initially they were going to kill the rishis. They were going to kill the saintly persons, because if we kill all the brahmanas and saintly persons, then there'll be no more yagyas, and the Lord Vishnu will be finished. But Kamsa was so worried about his own life, he told everyone, he told his demon friends, don't worry about the rishis, just concentrate on the babies. Get all the children who are 10 days and younger, who are born in the last 10 days and younger, and kill them. She would go to different places. She'd go to the cities and the towns and the villages. She'd go into the places and find the young children, and she'd let them drink her milk from her breast. And she had poison on her breast, so that as soon as they smelled the poison, the little children would die. So, text number 3, after hearing about Kamsa, and text number 2, and hearing about this demon Putana, then Maharaj Parikshit he thinks, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? This demon Putana is going to go and kill the children. He becomes very worried. So then, understanding the mind of Maharaj Parikshit, Sukadeva Goswami speaks text number 3, which is a very important verse for us. And in text number 3, it describes that wherever there is the chanting of the holy name, wherever there is devotees performing their duties of Shravanam Kirtan, then these demons cannot come there. They cannot. There's no danger from bad elements. So there was no need for any anxiety about Gokul while the Supreme Personality of Godhead was personally present. Because the people who live there in Braja, they were always doing kirtan, they were always engaged in hearing and chanting. They were always absorbed in Krishna. So there was no danger for them. So Sukadeva Goswami speaks this verse to pacify the mind of Maharaj Parikshit, who was worried, hearing about this powerful demon, Rakshasi Putana, how she's expert in killing children. But we should always remember that. So long as there's hearing and chanting and the devotional services going on, then these demons, these inauspicious elements cannot take effect on us. We just simply have to have faith and be fixed in our activities of hearing and chanting. And we see, it's described, Kamsa had sent Putana to go and kill babies. So where did she go? She didn't go to Gokul. She went and killed all the people who were not doing devotional service. She went to the homes of all these not just non-devotees, but they were enemies of Krishna. They were against Krishna. Non-devotee is neutral. There's devotee and then there's non-devotee. Non-devotee means somebody who is neutral. He doesn't make up his mind. He's not devotee. He's not against. But there's devotees and there's the enemies of the devotees. So this demon Putana had been going to the enemies of the devotees, and she had been killing the children there because they don't do any devotional service. So she could get in there, but she couldn't go wherever there's hearing and chanting. This is the way of devotional service. The devotional service makes a kavacha around the place wherever the devotees are. Is that understood by everyone?
Maharaj?
Yes?
So not a single child died in Gokul or in that area? She could not kill any children in that area?
No, she can't go. Sukadeva Goswami is saying, these demons and Rakshasis, they cannot go wherever the devotees are doing Shravanam and Kirtan. If they're engaged in their duties of Shravanam Kirtan, these demons cannot touch them. So none of the devotees' children were killed. But Kamsa's people, they didn't do hearing and chanting. So their children got killed by Putana.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
I also read this before Maharaj, and the question it might be, of course, I don't know, but the question is how they got birth in Gokul or Vrindavan when they are not devotees of Krishna, or when they are not liking Krishna.
Well,
so how could be there such houses where there are non-devotees or...
But you have to understand that Vrindavan is not just simply a place on the map. You see, some people may be there in Vrindavan, they're not really in the Holy Dham because they don't have any faith in the Holy Dham. So they never see the Holy Dham. They don't, to them the whole place is covered. They just see with their material eyes. They don't have faith in spiritual practice. They don't have faith in the Supreme Lord. So they don't see the Holy Dham. So they're not actually in the Holy Dham. Just like people may be chanting Hare Krishna, but they don't actually understand the holy name. They don't have faith. They think it's a joke, and they laugh, and they chant offensively sometimes. So they're not actually chanting the holy name. They're chanting the shadow of the holy name. Right? It's covered. And the same way people living in the Holy Dham, they're not actually living in the Holy Dham. It's covered to them. There's a covering over it, which hides the Holy Dham from them. So that's how I understand it, that these people are living there, but they're not devotees.
Yes. Okay, because in other pastimes we always hear that all the Vrajvasis were busy engaged in hearing and remembering and meditating on this pastime. So how can there somebody who exists who does not remember or do devotions? So that was my doubt. But yes, there might be some of Khalsa's people also.
So there's Brijbasis, there's devotee Brijbasis, and there's these other people who are Brijbasis, but they're just materialists. They're just karmis. So they're in the material Vrindavan. They're not actually in the Dham. They don't see the Dham. They're not residing.
Due to some pious thing, they have got birth there.
Yeah, maybe you could say some pious thing, but they're not pious enough to accept the process of devotional service. Yes. You don't get birth. You don't get devotional service by karma. They may take birth there, you see, material piety. It's just material. It's not spiritual. Punya karma doesn't get you devotional service. You have to do punya karma in relation to bhakti to get devotional service. But they don't do that. They live there in Vrindavan, which is physical Vrindavan on the map, part of India, in Mathura district. They don't actually see the Holy Dham. The devotees, they actually understand Vrindavan is not just a place in India, it's the spiritual world, it's the embassy of the spiritual world. And it's Lord Krishna's own residence. He resides there eternally. So when they go, they have a different mood in how they see the Holy Dham. Yeah?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. So,
Maharaj, Vimal Prasad Prabhu wants to say something.
Oh, really? Yes?
No, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. But I was just thinking of adding the same thing. Actually, this was the discussion which we had briefly yesterday also about the Brajabasi. And my understanding was also like that everybody who is born in Brajmandal need not be a devotee. If that be the case, then we must add all these demons who are coming to attack Krishna as devotees as well, because most of them are born in, at least they are living in Mathura. All these ministers of Kamsas who are coming to attack Krishna, to kill Krishna, they're all in that sense Brajavasis. Then a Kamsa may be a Brajavasi. So then then everybody has to be included in that frame of Brajavasis. So as you said, Maharaj, only those who are devoted to Krishna can be considered as Brajvasis. Even as we speak in 2021, like we see, like before this current government, Mathura was one of the most crime-infested area in the whole of Uttar Pradesh, not to speak of anybody else. So, I mean, those people who snatches the chains of the devotees, kill them, loot them for the money, I don't think what kind of Brajvasis they would be. Certainly not the kind of Brajvasis we would like to associate with.
Yes.
So
really. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice to hear this. All right, going ahead, text number 4. Once upon a time, Putana Rakshasi, who could move according to her desire and was wandering in outer space, converted herself by mystic power into a very beautiful woman and thus entered Gokul, the abode of Nanda Maharaj. We should note here the important point that she was wandering in outer space. So she had those powers that she could fly through the sky. And Putana, she likes to come in the night. She doesn't come in the daytime. She waits for it to get dark. And one of the acharyas in his commentary, I think Sanatana Goswami, said, it must have been a Saturday night. He said, Saturday is the most inauspicious day of the week. I didn't know this before, but I was reading in this commentary, and he said, Saturday is the most inauspicious day of the week. It's certainly the day when people do the most sinful activities. Tends to be, you know, the weekend, Saturday night, people do a lot of nonsense. So he said, Putana came there to Gokul. It must have been a Saturday. And she comes, she waits for the night. She likes to come in the night. And she can take the form of an owl. Actually, it's mentioned that either she's the daughter of an owl, or she's the wife of an owl, or she has a form which is like an owl. So she could fly. And of course, owls are birds who, they're active in the night, just like the jackals are awake at night. So the owl is also at night. The daytime they will close their eyes, but at night they're active. And they can be demonic, they can be nasty. So Putana has this form, and she was traveling around, and somehow she came to Gokul, the place of Nanda Maharaj. Prabhupada, he doesn't talk about her having a form of an owl, but he talks about witches, and he says some witches, they have a broomstick and they can travel very fast. And he said in India there are still people who can do this. There's still witches. In Europe and in England in the past, if there was a witch, they would burn her. They would burn her. It was the custom. If they said somebody was a witch, they would have that custom. They had that punishment that she would be burned, or she would be drowned or something. So later on we'll hear about Putana being burned. Anyway, Putana has this power that she can change her form. So she takes the form of a very beautiful woman. And her bodily features are described. That her hips were full, her breasts were large and firm, seeming to overburden her slim waist, and she was dressed very nicely. Her hair, adorned with a garland of malika flowers, was scattered about her beautiful face. So we're hearing about the beauty of a living person And we'll hear about when she dies, she's the most ugly person. While she's alive, she's got this very beautiful form. But when she actually dies, she reveals her ugly form. So it's like that. Death is ugly. Life is beautiful and death is ugly. So when she comes into Gokul, people are surprised. All the cowherd men were thinking, oh, who is she? We never saw her before. And she was very cunning, and she would look at the men, and she would give them glances, and the men would get all agitated. They were thinking, oh, she's so attractive. Oh, she's so beautiful. In Gokul, even the cowherd men were attracted to the beauty of this Putana. There's Yogamaya's potency that arranged like this. That this Putana could attract the minds of these men, although they're very great devotees. Not that they did anything sinful, but just they thought, who is she? They, oh, very attractive. They thought, maybe she is the goddess of fortune herself. And the other ladies were asking, who are you? We never saw you before. She said, oh yeah, I'm the wife of a Brahmana. I've just come from Mathura. My husband's a Brahmana in Mathura. I've just come to see this newborn child. Like that, she would joke, she'd tell some lie, something like that. And by the arrangement of Lord Krishna, or we could say Lord Krishna's potency, Putana found her way into the entrance of the home of Nanda Maharaj. And Mother Yashoda and Rohini are both there, and maybe other ladies were also there. And Lord Krishna is laying there, and this woman suddenly appears. She enters into their midst. And they were just speechless. Like, oh, who is she? And the amazing thing is that she was dressed like a cowherd woman. Maybe she had a gopi dress on or something. And she was looking just like a devotee. She appeared to everyone that she was just like them, like she was a devotee. So she comes into the midst, and she's very clever. And she sees the baby, and she smiles at the baby. You know how the ladies are when there's a little baby. They go, oh, what a cute baby. So Putana also, she would make face smile, and she came forward, and nobody could stop. And everybody just stood back, and they were just amazed that, oh, she's a nice woman, and she wants to see the baby. So naturally, nobody stopped her. And she comes forward, and then she's able to pick up the baby. Right? It's mentioned here. Let's see how it's described. It said, text number 7, while searching for small children, Putana, whose business was to kill them, entered the house of Nanda Maharaj unobstructed, having been sent by the superior potency of the Lord. So we can understand Putana appearing there in the home of Nanda Maharaj was the arrangement of Lord Krishna. We could call it due to his Lila Shakti. The Lord has his different potencies, right? Bush Shakti, and Lila Shakti, and what's the other potency? Sri Shakti, right? So without asking anyone's permission, she entered Nanda Maharaj's room, and she saw the child sleeping in bed. His unlimited power covered like a powerful fire covered by ashes. So this beautiful analogy is given in the verse, like a powerful fire covered by ashes. Lord Krishna was like that. he was laying there like a little child, laying down on the bed with the ladies around him. But Putana, she could understand that this child was not ordinary, but was meant to kill all demons. So she could understand that, but she wasn't intelligent enough to just go away. She thought, I have to kill him. Of course, she's going to be killed, but she's thinking her purpose in coming is she's thinking she will kill the child. So Prabhupada writes, demons are always busy creating disturbances and killing, but the child laying on the bed in the house of Nanda Maharaj was meant to kill many demons. So this demon, Putana, not only did she kill babies, but she drank blood as well. She was a Rakshasi, a real Rakshasi, killing babies and drinking blood. Oh, very amazing. But still she's appearing just like the most beautiful woman, like she's Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and she appears like a devotee. She's got the nice dress on, she's well decorated, her hair, her hair and ornaments are all very nice. This is a lesson to us that we have to understand that external features are not enough to understand who is actually the devotee. Just to recognize someone as a devotee simply by their external appearance, it's not very good. And Prabhupada also talks about that. Prabhupada traveled so much, he was often in the airports and he saw how well-dressed men, they may have nice suits on and so on, and they've got expensive wristwatches and they have a lot of money. But when they talk, they will talk just garbage. They talk just simply nonsense, useless, material things, mundane nonsense. So Putana, she's not saying much. She's just looking and smiling and, looking at the baby and saying, oh, beautiful baby. And she's coming forward. And this way everyone is just overwhelmed. Text number 8. Lord Sri Krishna, the all-pervading super soul, laying on the bed, understood that Putana, a witch, who was expert in killing small children, had come to kill him. Therefore, as if afraid of her, Krishna closed his eyes. Thus Putana took upon her lap him who was to be her own annihilation. Just as an unintelligent person places a sleeping snake on his lap, thinking the snake to be a rope. Another example is given to us here in this verse, thinking a snake to be a rope. Unintelligent person puts it on his lap, the same way Putana picked up the baby Krishna. Right? Putana Rakshasi also was perplexed. She was not intelligent enough to understand that she was taking a sleeping snake on her lap. She thought the snake to be an ordinary rope. Putana thought that she could kill the source of her annihilation. But because he is Ananta, unlimitedly, no one can kill him. So this is Putana's situation. She's got into the house and she's seen the baby and she's picking up the baby. She sees Krishna laying there. Krishna is described, Krishna has his eyes closed. When he sees Putana, he closes his eyes. Right? Why would he close his eyes? Would somebody tell us? There are different reasons why he would close his eyes. Nrsinga Nitai Prabhu, can you tell us? Why did Krishna, baby Krishna, close her eyes? Close his eyes when
my understanding is that Lord Krishna was thinking that he should deliver Putna and give her as a motherly position.
He should what?
Give liberation to Putna.
Give liberation.
And Lord Krishna also gave her position as a mother position.
Yes, but initially, what's his purpose in closing his eyes when she comes into the room? The liberation part, that comes after he kills her. That's at the end. But initially, Lord Krishna sees this Putana witch come into the room, and she's looking at the baby and smiling. And of course, she's got some evil intentions. Her intention is to kill baby Krishna. So Krishna wants to encourage her. So how will he encourage? There are different reasons the acharyas say why Krishna would close his eyes. One reason was he didn't want to look on her face because she was so sinful, because she killed many babies. Although you could say, well, they were not devotee babies, but still, she killed many babies. She was a really evil person. She was very cruel. And she drank blood. So Krishna closes his eyes. He doesn't want to see her face. Another reason is why he might close his eyes is he wants to encourage her, to give her more confidence, because she, just by looking at him, she could understand, oh, this child is no ordinary child. This child is very powerful. So Lord Krishna wants to encourage her, give her the confidence to come forward and go through with her act. So Lord Krishna, by closing his eyes, this was like an encouragement to her.
Maharaj, Lord Krishna, he closed his eyes because he never thought that she came to kill him, because he was angry Putna killed another innocent children. That's why he closed his eyes.
Okay, that's another reason. Yes, there's several different interpretations why he closed his eyes. That is also one. It's not that it was the only one, but there were other reasons given also. The acharyas explain different reasons. We don't know exactly. It's not like Lord Krishna say, I close my eyes because, the acharyas analyze why he might close his eyes. What was his purpose? So we have to understand the mood, the different reasons.
Vimala Prasad Prabhu want to say something regarding on this topic, Maharaj.
Okay.
I mean, even Narottam Vilas Prabhu had something to contribute. The point is, like, as we read, it's like, because two things were quite prominent. One was that she was a woman, and generally it is forbidden in the Shastra to kill a woman.
Yeah.
The exceptions are always there, but otherwise. And the second reason, like, if Krishna is drinking the milk of Putna, so she becomes like in the status of a mother. So, like, I mean, it's again very sinful to kill one's mother. So, Dhatri is one of the 7 mothers, like those who like feed you your milk, she becomes your nurse mother. So these were like quite prominent ones. That's all.
Okay.
Narottam Vilas Prabhu had, I think Narottam Prabhu had other things too. Yeah.
Yes, different acharyas give different opinions. Okay. Anyway, Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they didn't stop her because they saw her that she was just like a mother to the child. Prabhupada says at the end of the purport, text number 9, Rohini and Yashoda were not Maya. They were not Maya Mohita, deluded by the external energy, but to develop the pastimes of the Lord, they were captivated by Yoga Maya. Such Maya Moha is the action of Yoga Maya. So the pastime, for the purpose of the pastime, all this is going on. These different things are happening. So Putana gets in there and she's picking up Krishna, and she picks him up. Mother Rohini and Mother Yashoda, they just simply stand back and watch because they think, this is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, come. And they pick Lord Krishna, she picks up Lord Krishna, and then she uncovers her, her choli or something, and shows her, puts her nipple of her breast towards the mouth of the child. So Lord Krishna then becomes angry at her, and he takes hold of her breast and he squeezes it very hard with both hands, and he sucked out both the poison and her life. It's also described at this particular time that Lord Krishna's 2 lotus feet were walking on her body, and she was trying to get him off. She was trying to get Krishna off, but Lord Krishna wouldn't get off. She was actually blessed with Lord Krishna's lotus feet walking on her. So Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna was not angry at Putana for his own sake. Rather, he was angry because the Rakshasi had killed so many small children in Brajabhumi. Therefore, he decided that she should be punished by having to forfeit her life. So then Putana begins to cry. The Lord is squeezing her breast, and Putana is screaming, leave me, suck my breast no longer. And then she was perspiring, and her eyes opened wide, and her arms and legs flaying. She cried loudly again and again. And so she really got a lot of mercy from Lord Krishna. And it describes here, Krishna also began to kick her with his legs to punish her properly for her mischievous activities. So you get a kick from the Lord, his lotus feet. Very nice, very special. So Putana is really getting purified by this. The Lord's lotus feet are touching her, and he's drinking her milk, he's squeezing her breast, and she's so fortunate. Of course, she's suffering, she's feeling the pain. Purification is painful. We know you get some purification, sometimes it's painful to be purified. So here we have Putana getting her purification, and she's screaming loudly and forcefully. And it's described in text 12, the earth with its mountains and outer space with its planets trembled. The lower planets in all directions vibrated, and people fell down, fearing that thunderbolts were falling upon them. So this was the effect, that the sound, Putana screaming, it was very fearful for everyone. They'd never heard. They thought, what is wrong? What's going on? It said even the different the lower planetary systems, they all could hear the noise. They were all hearing what's happening on the Earth planet. So because Putana because her breasts were being attacked by Krishna, she lost her life. Text 13 describes, O King Parikshit, opening her mouth wide, spreading her arms, legs and hair, she fell down in the pasturing ground in her original form as a Rakshasi, just as Vitrasura had fallen when killed by the thunderbolt of Indra. Now the comparison with Vritasura is very good. Comparing Putana to Vritasura is very good. Anybody can point out why that comparison is made? What do they have in common, Putana and Vritasura?
Maharaj,
Yes, Prabhu.
both of them attained spiritual world.
Yes, that's one thing in common. They
And
both
both had huge bodies.
Right, yes. Those are the two reasons given by the Acharyas, that Vrita means one who spread everywhere, and Putana, when she assumed her original form, she was also huge, like a mountain when she fell on the ground. So they both had huge bodies, and they both, when they gave up their bodies, they both went to the spiritual world. So they got very good destinations on being killed. So it's a very good example to give, comparing Putana to Vritasura. So Putana, when she actually was in the room of Nanda Maharaj, but it said she came out screaming, and she came out and she went in even to the outskirts of the village, and then she assumed her form as the Rakshasi, her original form, and she fell down and she flattened everywhere. It says even the trees became dust under the weight of her body. We can just, how heavy she must have been. She could crush a tree into dust. So, and she was how many miles long? When she fell down? Is it, yes? Yes, Maraji, how big was she?
20.
12, yeah, I think 12 is mentioned. 12 miles long.
12 miles.
So she was just huge. Later on, when Nanda Maharaj comes back home and he sees this huge body, he thinks, what is this? Where did this come from? One thing he thinks, he said, maybe I've come in the wrong place. Maybe this is not my village. Maybe some yogi did some mystic powers and this is not my village. I've come to the wrong place, because this body was so huge, it was like a mountain. Another thinking he had was, maybe this was a mountain. And you know, sometimes the flying mountains, have you seen flying mountains before? In the past, it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam that there were flying mountains and they had wings, and sometimes they'd be shot down. He said maybe Indra shot the wings off of this mountain and crashed down. So Putana was just huge. She fell down screaming. And it said when she fell down, because she'd just gone out to the outskirts of the village, when she fell down, she actually fell down on the fruit trees of King Kamsa. She fell down on the favorite fruit trees of King Kamsa, and she crushed them all to nothing. So that was good. The Kamsa's fruit trees all got destroyed. They must have made him angry. So Putana was certainly extraordinary. Then texts 15 to 17 describe some of the features of her body, how it was so huge. First of all, her mouth was full of teeth. And remember, these teeth Well, we don't, I don't know what, she was drinking blood. Anyway, she has teeth, but these teeth resemble the front of a plow. And her nostrils were like deep mountain caves. Her breasts were like big slabs of stone fallen from a hill. Her scattered hair was the color of copper. I think Vritasura also had that copper-colored hair. It seems to be common for the demons. In Europe, we often see people with copper-colored hair. The sockets of her eyes were like deep blind wells, and her thighs resembled the banks of a river. So, very detailed descriptions about the different parts of her body, what they looked like. The hearts, ears and heads of the cowherd men and women were already shocked by the Rakshasi's screaming, and when they saw the fierce wonder of her body, they were even more frightened. So they heard her scream, but when she assumed that huge form, they were just overwhelmed. They thought, what on earth is happening? And Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they're going frantic. They're thinking, where is our baby? Where is Krishna? Where's he gone? And they were looking for him. They couldn't see him. They were so overwhelmed. They didn't know what had happened. They didn't see that Putana had gone out with him. He was holding on to her when she went out. When she went out of the room, he was holding on to her. He wouldn't let go of her. And when she fell down, he was still there. He was still holding on to her chest. When she assumed that big form, Lord Krishna was still holding on to her, and he was playing on her chest. So that's mentioned in text 18. It's mentioned the upper portion of Putana's breast was where Krishna was playing. And when the gopis saw the child's wonderful activities, they immediately came forward with great jubilation and picked him up. So it was the other gopi ladies who picked him up. Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they were in the room. They were just still overwhelmed by the whole thing, the whole situation, what had happened. It was the other gopi ladies, they had actually understood, they'd gone out and they saw Krishna playing on the chest there of the deep big demon, big Rakshasi, and they picked up baby Krishna and brought him back to Mother Yashoda and Rohini. So it's a very interesting pastime. Very important. It's the first demon to be killed by Lord Krishna. And it's important because we see that Lord Krishna doesn't have to take a big form like Putana. Putana had to assume her original form to try to save herself. But Lord Krishna, even as a baby, he's still Bhagavan. So the point is that God is always God. Even when he comes as a little baby, he's still the Supreme Lord, and he's still Bhagavan, and he has all strength, he has all powers, and he can kill big demons like Putana. Now this is an important point in this incident. Prabhupada writes, Krishna remained the same. The purport of text 18, at the end of the purport, Krishna remained the same small child and fearlessly played on the upper portion of her breast. Sadaishwarya Purna, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always full in all potencies, regardless of whether he is present in this form or that. His potencies are always full. Parashya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. He can display all potencies under any circumstances. So we see this most amazing circumstance that he's a little baby, but still he can display the full spiritual potency of Bhagavan and kill this huge demon. And in killing the demon, he gave her the greatest mercy. All right? Any questions on this? Just like in Ram Leela, there was the first demon killed by Lord Ramachandra. What was that lady, the demon name? The Rakshasi lady? Takada. Yes. So in Valmiki Ramayana, it's like that. Lord Rama, the first demon he had to kill when he was taken with Vishwamitra. There was this Rakshasi, and Vishwamitra told Lord Rama, you should kill her. So Lord Rama was hesitating, but Vishwamitra told him, he said, no, you have to kill her. Don't think that she's a woman. She's very sinful, she killed many people, she has to die. You have to kill her. So Lord Rama was hesitating, but under the instruction of Vishwamitra rather, he killed her. And here you have Lord Krishna, he's killing this Putana witch. So we were saying, demons cannot come into Gokul. How did Putana get into Gokul? Right? Prema Bhakti Ras Maharaji, how did Putana get into Gokul if demons can't come in there? Does it mean that Nanda Maharaj or Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they were not doing their chanting? Were they negligent in their spiritual practice? So therefore Putana could come in and create some disturbance?
She is known as Khechari. That means she came through the sky. But how could she enter even through sky? That is, I think, your question, Maharaj. So...
Yes, how did she enter?
My
question was more how she could get into Gokul, because Gokul was the place where we were saying at the beginning, text number 3 says, in the beginning of the chapter, text number 3 says, wherever there is good devotional service, hearing, chanting, the Rakshasis, the demons, they cannot come there and disturb the devotees.
Yes.
So how did this witch get in there?
Because her intention was to feed breast milk to Krishna.
Oh, she had the mood to give service to Krishna? So that,
yes.
That got her into Vrindavan? No, she came in an angry mood. She came to kill Krishna. Her thinking was not just to give him milk, her thinking was to kill the baby. Right? She wants to kill him.
Maharaj, there is a previous pastime related to this, Bali Maharaj's pastime, how she desired when she saw Vaman Dev. That, is it related to that? And Krishna wanted to fulfill her desire of feeding?
Well, that could be part of it. Yeah, that's an interesting, you bring that up, that it said that Putana in her previous life, she was the daughter of Bali Maharaj, right? Her name was Ratnamani.
Ratnamala.
Ratnamala, yeah, Ratnamala. So, what happened? She saw Lord Vamanadev, and
she got very attracted to see Vamadev, and she felt, I wish he could be my child and I could feed him.
Yes, right. She thought it would be nice to feed my breast milk to him. So, that's mentioned anyway, and one purport does say like that somewhere in the Acharyas. But that's one reason we could say like that. But the reason I was thinking was that this is all the Lord's pastime. Due to the Lord's Leela Shakti, by his internal potency, his Chit Shakti, he wants this pastime to take place. Because the Lord has come to kill the demons. So he has to kill these different demons like Putana. So he arranges for her to come. Her particular mood was to kill the babies. And so while he's a baby, first one he has to kill her while he's still in that child form. If he grows up too much, she won't come. She won't. So while he's still in the baby form, it's the time to kill her.
Yes.
So Lord Krishna arranges like that with all his pastime potency. All right. So then, after the gopis, they bring back Krishna, baby Krishna, to Mother Yashoda and Rohini. Then text 19 describes how all the elderly gopis, along with Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they began to do these different rituals for the protection of their child Krishna. And they began waving about the switch of a cow, right? The switch of a cow. It's like the tail of the cow, isn't it? So because they understood something inauspicious had happened. This woman had come and she was evil, so they thought, oh, Lord Krishna may be affected, that this demon came and she's given trouble to Krishna. We have to protect our child. So they did all of these rituals we're going to hear in the next set of verses, the different rituals which they did. And all of these rituals were done, especially with different things from the cow. And so it's mentioned here that what they would use the tail of the cow to protect the child from all types of danger, and then they would take the dust from the hoofs of the cow and smear it over the child. And they were using all the different things which were from the cow. And Prabhupada writes, he said, here we find that in household affairs, ladies could take charge of protecting a child simply by taking help from the cow. So cows are so important, every home should have a cow, you should have cows, and then it's so easy, even if you just have one cow, it's enough, maybe you have more, it's even better. Sometimes we would go on Harinam, Sankirtan in different places in India, and sometimes a man would break. I remember one man brought us back to his home, and he had all these cows there at his home. It was so nice. And he fed us sweets made with milk and hot milk. It was so wonderful. So there are still people today protecting cows. Of course, not many, but it's important. And people need to know how to do these different rituals for the protection of the children. Generally what happens nowadays, what do we do with some problem? Oh, we want a puja done. Right? Can you do a puja for me? And we give some money to the Nrsinga altar and we get them to do the puja. But actually what we should be doing the puja ourselves, and we should do it with the things from the cows. It's all right, you give the donation to Lord Nrsingadev also, that you can also do. But we shouldn't depend on others to do the rituals. And the ladies, this is the duty of the ladies, especially rituals to protect the children. So Prabhupada said, even now in the Indian villages surrounding Vrindavan, the villagers live happily simply by giving protection to the cows. They keep cow dung very carefully and dry it to use as fuel. They keep a sufficient stock of grains, and because of giving protection to the cows, they have sufficient milk and milk products to solve all economic problems. Simply by giving protection to the cows, the villagers live so peacefully. Even the urine and stool of the cows have medicinal value. So we know this, of course, but it's important to do it. We're so dependent on others. Everything is from the factory. We go to the drugstore to get medicines and everything. But it's all there from the cows, natural, homeopathic, right? You get the things from the cows and use that. We can keep healthy. We have to protect the cow. We have to use these things properly. All right, we'll have a break. Time for a break. We can chant your Gayatri.
Thank